And they confirmed to me that this has to do with a threat related to space. We already have from our other sourcing that there has been reporting on the Hill that sources here have confirmed is in the ballpark, which is that it has to do with an emerging capability from Russia that would be of grave seriousness potentially, but that the threat is not immediate. Now, Congressman Mike Turner, who chairs the Intelligence Committee, put out this notification that he is asking the Biden administration to declassify this information and calling on members of Congress to come and view this information in the skiff because it is of such grave concern. The National Security Advisor, Jake Sullivan, was in the briefing room today and appeared to be taken off guard that Turner made this information known through a press release, saying that he was actually planning. He had offered to speak to Mike Turner himself tomorrow. And so he was surprised that this announcement came out before he was able to go to the Hill and have that discussion with Mike Turner and other members of Congress. We're gathering from reporting on the Hill, members who have come out of the skiff talking to reporters saying that, they can't talk about what it is that they have viewed, but expressing a lot of concern about it. And when Sullivan was asked, will the administration comply with Turner's request that this information be declassified so that these robust discussions with our allies and partners that Turner was saying need to happen can start? Sullivan said, of course, in the past we have done more than any other administration, he says, to declassify information and share it with the public when it's in the interest of our national security, and that you wouldn't find an unwillingness to do that in this case if it were in U.S. national interest. But it sounded like from the briefing, they weren't ready to do that yet and really weren't expecting to face questions on it today. So we are working our sources, and what we have right now is a Pentagon official telling me it has to do with space. Other sources confirming Hill reporting that this has to do with a Russian capability, emerging military capability, but that the threat is not immediate in nature and Americans don't have to be concerned about their safety at this given moment. John.
Jackie, John just pulled up actually a press release from back in 2020, if you can believe this, where Mike Turner actually put out a statement when he was on the House Armed Services Subcommittee about what could be what you're talking about right here. He said basically this was after the U.S. Space Command said publicly that it had evidence that Russia had conducted a non-destructive test of a space-based anti-satellite weapon. That was July 15 of 2020. And back then, Turner said, I strongly condemn Russia's space-based anti-satellite weapons test, the latest in our adversaries' aggressive behavior against the United States and our allies. It sounds to us, again, with very, very little information coming out of either the White House or Capitol Hill right now, that this might be exactly what Mike Turner is now trying to get declassified. We heard a little bit of Jake Sullivan earlier in the show, Jackie. He was asked about this. It clearly seemed very unhappy with Chairman Turner. Did you get any more sense in that briefing that we might find out anything else from this after the Gang of Eight is briefed tomorrow?
I mean, I think that they are going to have to address the public. Just the nature of sending a letter that warns of a concerning national security threat, carries weight that people pay attention to. And so we did, hear from the president earlier in the week that he would be taking our questions later in the week. He said it would happen today and tomorrow. This was before we knew anything about this national security threat. So the potential for the president himself to address some of these questions, I think, is there, given that he already announced he would be speaking to reporters this week. But I think from just my sense in the briefing, it seemed like Jake Sullivan was there today to talk about other issues. He was there to talk about the need to get the foreign aid passed in Congress. He was there to talk about the FISA bill that needs reauthorization, and there is opposition really across both parties to certain pieces of that bill that they think would undermine national security if it were not to happen. So he was making that case to the press, as he's been making that case to members of Congress. And I think this question kind of came out of nowhere. And it was all prompted by this press release that Mike Turner sent out, warning folks that